Now, here's the hosts
Well,
of Top
good morning
Story,
and welcome to Top
Kelly
Story.
Glass and Jill Steen.
738-60300 is always the number to call, and welcome, Jill.
Well, thank you, Kelly. Same to you.
Here we are, 36 degrees this morning.
Is it?
Yep.
Wow. It doesn't feel that cold, but then I'm only in and out very quickly.
Yeah, that's right. And we had a low, it says a 35, so.
Oh, there I could tell.
Yeah.
But
Well, anyway.
big difference.
Welcome, and coming up this morning at 8:30, we'll have the cops with the bad guys list. I think today it's Sergeant Ken Menzel from the Twin Falls County Sheriff's Office.
I thought he was on last week.
He was, but he's on 2 or 3 times during the month.
I know. Well, we'll see if it's him.
Yeah, we will.
I'll
bet it is.
Will you?
I'll bet you a cheesecake that it's him.
A cheesecake, which incidentally is not a cake.
That's right.
It's a pie or a tart. Thank you.
You always learn something on this show.
Thank you. And you can't seem to let that one go. You want it to be a cake.
I want it to be a cake so bad.
I know. It's not. It's a pie or a tart. It's a misnomer. And then we also have David Kirk from the Boy Scouts.
Yes, I keep wanting to call him Jim Kirk, but that's the guy from Star Trek.
Well, interestingly enough, his email's like Captain Kirk.
Yeah,
they call him the
that.
captain.
Yeah.
About their food scouting thing. This is now the wait, how many years have we been doing the show? Almost 6. 6 years have never gotten a bag on my front porch.
Good for you, Jill. You're very.
No, I've never gotten a bag. They keep saying they put the bags on there, and then I drive it down. I'm like, what's wrong? Can't you find Kimberly? They say they have scouts in Kimberly. I'm doubting this. They know I ask for it every year. I don't get a bag. Okay, we'll talk about that, though.
All right. I'm sure we will.
And then we have my niece-in-law, Millie Scheme.
Yes.
Who is from Sierra Leone. And her mother currently still lives in Sierra Leone. And she has up-to-date every information, history of the Ebola virus. So tune in. It should be very interesting stuff you do not hear. And I can say this with accuracy. That you do not hear on any news station is what, on national news, nothing. You do not hear this stuff. I had lunch with her last week, and we were talking. I'm like, Millie, this is fascinating. You have to come on the show.
Wow.
So she will be on, and don't worry, you will not get Ebola through the radio station.
By listening to the show, you won't get Ebola? Are you sure about that?
Okay, spray your radio with Lysol.
Yeah.
Like, come on, people.
Now, even the people at Lysol are saying, well, we're not going to say it kills Ebola, but we're not going to say it doesn't kill Ebola.
Yeah, and order here, please.
But, it can't hurt.
Why not?
Yeah.
Spray something.
Fill in your name and address, put in your credit card here, and we'll send you a
bottle. How many do you want?
And you can try it out.
Yeah, we're not making a claim, but the phones are ringing off the hook. Thank you.
I just have to say, before we get too far here, there's a lot of controversy right now about all these political ads that are running.
You know the interesting thing about ads? They have to be truth in advertising to say sneakers can tone your tushy up. But you can say whatever the heck you want in a political ad, and it just doesn't matter.
Well,
does that make sense?
I just want to say about all of the ads that are running right now for politicians, whether they be smear ads or not, I just have 3 words. God bless you. Because we are making a ton of money right now, friends.
We're making a killing.
The elections for the media are a blessing.
Christmas.
They are a blessing from God. I mean, the money just rolls in. We have to go out front, in front of our front door every morning with a scoop shovel and scoop the money in order to allow people to come in the front door. I mean, they're just, there's money everywhere.
The thing that's sad, though, when you think about the amount of money spent on, you think commercials and print ads and TV ads, and you think how many people that could help. That's what I think. I'm like, what a waste. How many people
But it is helping us.
It is, but how many people could be fed? How many people could be taken care of?
Pshaw.
Pshaw. I'm just a liberal.
It's paying your wage. It's paying my wage. Everybody who works here. I mean, we're making a ton right now, folks.
Yeah, we aren't getting raises.
I wish there was an election every month.
We're not getting raises. Yeah, I'm sure you do. What do you care? You're out in December.
7360300. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I wanted to touch on a caller. He called yesterday about Sarah Palin, people being really critical of her. If it's okay, I was going to just say I'm Hispanic, and I'm not from Mexico. My family's from New Mexico. And the problem with Sarah Palin, she made a comment once about all the Mexicans need to go back to Mexico. There's a lot of Hispanics here that are not from Mexico. They were born in the southwestern part of the United States. But another thing I want to bring up.
That's true, though, and I agree with you 100%.
And she's turned off a lot of moderate Hispanic conservative Republicans, and even the moderate Republicans are distancing themselves from her because of her mouth. You know, I mean, so I mean, people be real. She is good at dishing it out, but people sure protect when they come down on her. My family, almost all the males are veterans from World War II, World War I veteran to Kuwait and Iraq and all that, and that really, really irritated me with her. And again, I think a lot of she's hurt the Republican Party. She's pretty much wiped out the conservative Hispanic vote. Thank you.
Well, there is one thing about, and I don't agree with everything with Sarah Palin.
Sierra Leone Palin.
But
she's got Ebola.
There is one thing I'll say about Sarah. I did it again about Sarah Palin. She is hot.
Oh, for gosh sakes.
What can I say?
You're pathetic.
I cannot dispute that. 7360300. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to call him defense because I think he just proudly said every Spanish person feels exactly like he does. And I would honestly say he's full of it. I served with plenty of them overseas, and I can tell you one thing. Most of them I still keep in contact with, and that was their first pick. So he can say whatever he wants.
That was their first what?
Honestly, that's their first pick. They wanted her because she's stronger than Obama even.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, come on, Obama's
I'll
weak.
agree with that, absolutely.
She's weak, and she says what she feels, and that's what we need.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? If she was so strong, and actually the first caller didn't say all Hispanics. He said has pissed off some, whatever. But I don't think he generalized in all of them.
Actually, he did, because I thought it was kind of interesting, because he said that she said all should go back to Mexico.
Oh, she might have, but he didn't say that they ticked off all of them. And his statement, I don't think, was a generalization. But the thing of it is, if she was so great, they would have been in the White House, John McCain and Sarah Palin, and actually John McCain's pick of Sarah Palin turned off a lot of Republicans. So if she was so wonderful, so brilliant, so great, they would have been in the White House. She would have been vice president instead of a half-term governor.
How did we get off on Sarah Palin?
Sierra Leone Palin.
I wanted to talk
know.
about Nurse Hickox.
Nurse Hickox, bless her heart, who's, you know what, I have to say, based on fear as opposed to science and medical tests, should the woman be quarantined? I don't think so.
Let me ask you this. If you arrived back from a West African country after serving several weeks of helping sick people and fly into New Jersey, and the first thing that happens to you, you get thrown into an isolation tent with a porta potty at the New Jersey airport, how would you feel?
No heat in the tent, I've heard, and no shower, porta potty, but what Governor Christie said, but she could get takeout from the best restaurants in Newark. Have you seen Newark? Are you kidding me?
Have you been to Newark?
Yes.
My grandfather.
Well, I have a lot of relatives in New Jersey, of course. My grandfather's buried in Newark.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Newark
you have
is
relatives everywhere, even Sierra Leone.
Yeah, I don't know why, but anyway, what can I say? 6 degrees of Jill Scheme. What can I say?
More like 2. 7360300. Top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Two things I would like to add. First, the picture of Sarah Palin was Tuesday had a party at her house, and they got into it. It was a straight out redneck fight, and there's video of that of Sarah Palin yelling, "You know who we are," and that's what the painting was. That's what the drawing was all about. And about this individual, I'm with her 110%. I hope she goes to court and fights this one because the way they've been treating this Nurse Hitchcock, it is outrageous. It is outlandish. I mean, this cannot be happening in a first class country like this. It cannot happen like that. As soon as this scare of Ebola is running rampant, this is insanity at its worst.
It is. It is. There was a student in Connecticut who wasn't allowed to go to school because she went to Lagos, Nigeria, and Nigeria has been declared Ebola free. But no symptoms, will not let them get a medical test to clear their name, just automatic 21-day quarantine. If fear is dictating policy, we've got a problem. There is a thing called science, medical tests. If this woman had any kind of symptoms, believe me, the person who went to Sierra Leone to help people for 4 weeks, you don't think she'd quarantine herself? She is asymptomatic. She's never had symptoms, still does not. And I'm sure the minute, if she does, she would take care of it. And you cannot get it just with a fever.
Well, if we're going to follow the same procedure with quarantining everybody who comes back from a foreign country, then we're going to have to quarantine everybody in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
And everyone who is within several hundred miles of Dallas, Texas, and anybody who has visited Dallas, Texas, because that's ground zero for the U.S. right there.
I mean, it's amazing. I mean, they're upset she took a bike ride. How can you get it? This is insanity. Insanity.
7360300, top story. You're on the air. Good morning.
Your first caller this morning is such an insult to the American people and for Sarah Palin. First of all, Sarah Palin was absolutely right. She was talking about the Mexicans. The guys in New Mexico are not Mexicans. They are Americans. And her reference was to the legitimate Mexicans need to go back to Mexico. But that's why we have to design and develop a system that is fair, that is honorable, and that allows the people the access to citizenship. Sarah Palin, to me, is a true. When you read her book and understand the motives and agenda behind her, I think she's one of the great Americans of our time.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm sorry, Jill, you have got to get a clue on the real world out there, and she has it.
Oh, you're kidding me. Sarah Palin has the real world
I think
view.
So, yes. I think she does. When you read the realities of this woman and look at look at the hardship she's gone through with a handicapped child. The woman can handle herself in any situation, and everybody attacks her intelligence. Give me 10 minutes with Obama, and I'll have him babbling like an idiot.
Really?
He does that on his own.
You can find any subject on anybody that nobody knows anything about.
Obama does that on his own.
Oh, please. Our president is extremely intelligent. And if Sarah Palin was such a...
As long as his teleprompter is working.
Oh, stop. If Sarah Palin was such a genius, why isn't she vice president? People were not impressed with Sarah Palin.
Because the voters are not. We have low information voters.
Oh, right. They just couldn't understand Sarah's message.
We'll be right back here on Top Story. 7360300 was the number to call here on Top Story. You've heard me talking about Certiset, no moving pipe, no spraying borders around your field, no more costly labor to move pipe. This is for irrigation, and we're kind of done with that for this year.
We are so done.
This is going to give you a chance to talk to the folks at Far More of Idaho about Certiset and getting something different in your field this coming year, something that won't be nearly as labor-intensive, but yet will make better use and better efficiency of your water on your crops. Far More of Idaho at 324-3341. You can also find them at farmoreofidaho.com. And you can tell them that Kelly and Jill sent you. Top Story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. I need to point out a dual standard here. Jill's biggest fan just called in, and he talked about a redneck party. And I didn't hear anything from her about any point of maybe that might have been racist or anything. And maybe it's just because we're white, it's okay. But I'm sorry I was insulted. And first of all, I want him to come back on the air and say sorry. How about that?
What? I'm sorry. You want who to come on the air?
Redneck party. How about that?
I don't know. I mean, you know what? I think it's a term I would never. It's a term.
Not racist.
I don't know if it's racist. It's a term I don't use. I know some people brag that they're rednecks. I know who was it? Gretchen, whatever, had the redneck Christmas.
Yeah, but they got to be white to be a redneck.
Well, okay, so sorry.
Okay,
I didn't say it. If you're offended, I'm sorry. I'm sure the caller's offended. I don't know. Sorry.
We have to... I was just reading a story a while ago about there's a school of Navajo Indians in Arizona whose mascot is the redskin. And they are proud of that fact.
Well, good.
I'm just throwing that out there.
But meanwhile, we're totally off topic. We were talking about the nurse in Maine. What do you think?
Casey Hickok, should
she be quarantined or not? Should she be forced to be in a quarantine when she's asymptomatic? No fever, no, she's tested twice, negative against Ebola. Should this woman be forced to stay in her home for 21 days because of fear? What do you think?
And I don't understand any other disease you have, nobody worries about it until you have symptoms. And Ebola, I guess, according to the scientists, is that you're not contagious until you start showing symptoms.
Right.
So
and bodily
my question is why are they afraid of you if you are not showing symptoms, because you would not be contagious at that point? Now, I know it's easy to say,
fear.
well, we just don't know, and so we need to be careful
Actually,
here.
they do know.
Well, I'm looking at this way. Since Mr. Duncan passed away, how many people have gotten Ebola from him? I guess there was
0. His immediate family, the 2 nurses.
Who were living, yeah.
Yeah, the 2 nurses who were intimately with him who did not have proper coverage. Their necks were exposed. The amount of vomit and diarrhea they talked about
his family
was extensive.
His girlfriend and her family who was living with him, they never got it.
No.
I mean, that tells me something.
It's when you have, even if you have a fever, you're not contagious. It's the bodily fluids. It's the blood, the vomiting, the diarrhea. And so what do you think? I would be livid too. Honestly, she went there for 4 weeks to help people with Ebola. I think the last person who would jeopardize anyone getting it would be this woman. And for the Maine health commissioner, whatever she is, saying, it's no big deal. Just stay in your house and be quarantined for 21 days. I'm like, think about that. 3 weeks in your home.
No income.
No income.
Work.
Who's buying you groceries? If she was symptomatic, I'm sure this nurse would go to a reputable hospital, probably not one in Maine. I don't think they're qualified. Do you know what I mean? But also having New Jersey stick her in a tent for 3 days, no heat, no shower, a porta potty.
That would tick anybody off.
The finest takeout from the best restaurants in Newark.
I mean, I would just have to say, if they did that to me, I would be livid.
And then he says they released her because she's asymptomatic. She wasn't symptomatic to begin with. I mean, we are creating hysteria. Kids are being bullied at school. There was that story from calling them because they went to another part of the country. A child is being quarantined because they went to Rwanda, which is on the East Coast.
We have people living closer to Dallas, Texas, that we're not concerned about than some of these people who visit an African country, and yet we want to quarantine them. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, I think the hysteria is out of control. What do you think? Do you think they've overreached? And when people talk about the government stepping into your lives and overreaching, where is the outrage here? Where is the outrage? The government is forcing her into a quarantine for 21 days when she has no symptoms, tested negative for the virus. Where's the outrage about government coming into your lives and intruding? Don't you think, Al? I mean, really, what happened to government intrusion? You don't hear a thing.
I know.
Why?
I understand that. I understand. But I do know one thing for sure.
What?
And now is a good time to announce this.
What?
The San Francisco Giants beat the Kansas City Royals 3-2 to win the World Series.
I saw that game last night. Let me tell you, it came down to the last pitch. Best World Series ever. But
does anybody know that the World Series was on?
Yeah, everyone at the party I was at, I was cooking for 12 people last night. They all knew, and their husbands knew. And let me tell you, it came down to the last pitch. Best World Series ever. If the guy made the hit, Kansas City would have won. But Madison Bumgarner struck the guy out, and they won. It was the best hit, best World Series ever. Seriously.
So there you go. Okay, we got the cops of the bad guys list next, right here on Top Story. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. And, we've been talking about Echo chainsaws and Echo leaf blowers here recently. And I think everybody should have at least one Echo chainsaw and one Echo leaf blower in their garage because they're handy to have.
Yes.
Chainsaws are really handy, especially around Halloween. You can do some great special effects on Halloween night with it. Chainsaw.
Ooh.
But more importantly, if you got some trees to trim or some wood to cut for the winter, There's no other way to do it than with a chainsaw. And a leaf blower, an echo leaf blower, with all the leaves that are falling now. Don't use an old-fashioned rake. That is so yesterday. That is so 20th century. The way to rake leaves now is with a leaf blower, an echo leaf blower from Clearwater Power Equipment. They've been in the Wood River Valley for many years. Now they've expanded to the Twin Falls area. And they're at 252 Washington Street, right there where General Building Supply used to be. And their phone number is 734-7767. So give them a call. Say, hey, I want to come down and buy a chainsaw and a leaf blower because Kelly and Jill told me to.
Of course.
It'd be nice to have that kind of power, wouldn't it?
Yes.
It would. Well, apparently Officer Ken is busy this morning.
I hope he's okay. I always worry.
Yeah, he's not here.
He's not here.
So maybe he was on his way and found a lawbreaker and decided that duty called. I mean, that has happened.
Maybe he found the...
That has happened.
What does he bring every week, the most wanted?
Oh, maybe he did. Maybe somebody called in a tip at the last minute and he went to arrest him. It's
I
hard
don't know.
to say.
Hope everything's safe. When you're a cop, you never know. You always just hope for the best for them.
Yeah, that's right. We do have another bit of news here, though. And I found, because we've been having in Twin Falls a series of pharmacy robberies. And they just caught one of the guys who robbed the Save More drug over the weekend. And apparently he had cased at least one other pharmacy before that. But anyway, they caught the guy. And I found this story this morning. It's in Germany, but it's so unique that I thought, I just have to share this. German police said a suspect armed only with her own breasts allegedly squirted milk at pharmacy workers and made off with $127. Police said workers at the pharmacy in Darmstadt reported the woman came in about 4:25 p.m. Monday and acted like she was planning to buy a breast pump.
Which sounded like she needed.
The woman handed over about $255 for the $25 item and then exposed one of her breasts and used her fingers to make it squirt at the pharmacist.
That's how that works.
Workers told police the woman repeatedly sprayed her milk while going through a counter display and approaching a second cash register. The woman left the breast pump behind, and workers later discovered their register was $127 short. Police said the milk spraying was likely a distraction for the woman's theft. You think?
I know.
The suspect was described as having a robust figure and was speaking an unknown language during the incident.
I'm sure.
I don't know. Something new now that'll be coming from Europe to America, I'm thinking, I mean, practically all you have to do now is hand them a note. Say, hey, give me this list of pharmaceuticals, and everything will be okay. They don't really have to show a weapon. They don't even have to say they have a weapon. They just come in, they put the list down, and they leave.
Well, you know what? These guys were so distracted looking at her breast. Maybe they could have done something. You know how guys are. You see a breast, you forget everything else. My gosh, there's a breast. Oh, and it's shooting milk. Wow, that's cool. They're probably videotaping it. Maybe they took a selfie with her. Who thinks about the cash register? I've got a woman shooting breast milk at me. This is awesome. Whoever sees this, Achtung, check it out. Are you kidding me? That's the best. You could just go in topless and rob them. They're like, wow, check out that. They would be texting their buddies so fast. They don't care about the money. Are you kidding me? Best day of their life.
Testing and sending pictures.
Yes. Are you kidding me? When do you ever see this? A woman shooting breast milk at you. It was worth $127 just to see this. Are you kidding me? I had no idea I could shoot that far. Wow. This is great.
Oh, my gosh. How can I follow that?
You can't.
How can I follow that?
Come on.
Well,
there's more to the story?
The one thing that I have a question about, the woman handed over about $255 for the $25 item before she exposed her breast. Then she took $127.
So obviously she overpaid.
I'm thinking that she lost money on this transaction.
I'm thinking
she didn't even get the breast pump.
I think she just probably wanted her change back. You got 25. It was $250. She gave him $255.
She was testing them to see
127.
She was testing them to see if they could count change while being distracted.
I don't think she stole anything. She paid $255, and she got a show.
No,
they
she
got
didn't.
A show.
The woman handed over a 200 euro note.
Oh, I thought you said she handed over $255.
Well, about $255 is what a $200 note is for the $25 item. She left the breast pump and only took $127.
Right, so didn't she overpay?
So she lost money on the deal and didn't get her breast pump. She left it.
So is it really stealing when you pay more?
Do I have to go back over this story again so you can understand
it? Is it really stealing?
For crying out loud.
She paid $255.
She gave him a show. She gave him
I guess so.
7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. David Kirk is with us with the Snake River Council Boy Scouts of America. But he and Jill are having a conversation about where Jill lives and why she's never gotten a bag for this
6 years.
drive.
Almost 6 years I've been doing this show. Every year they don't give me a bag. Every year I ask for a bag on my porch. I don't get a bag. I don't understand. I have to drive down to your council or to the Salvation Army and donate. That's what I do. I go out of my way to donate. I want it on my porch. I don't understand why it's not on my porch. I don't understand why you can't pick it up at my house. What is the problem?
So I dropped it off here just for you.
No. No.
You want it at your porch.
Well, my concern is the citizens of Kimberly are not receiving these bags, and we are very generous people.
You are very generous.
So what about the Kimberly people?
Kimberly has bags too.
Well, why
the
is my
Cub Scouts go ahead and deliver those bags?
I am in Kimberly.
You two go ahead. I'm going to go to breakfast.
Yeah, okay.
What
Kimberly
do the Cub Scouts don't know where Kimberly ends and Twin Falls starts?
They live
do
there
they?
too. Yeah.
Do they know where my house is?
Well, no, I don't know where your house is.
Anyway, we will talk off air on that one.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
It's on 3,300.
I'm going to make sure she gets about 10 bags. You can fill them up.
They say that every year. Every year they say that.
Okay.
I knew something was up when I saw Jill riding into the parking lot on her broom.
Yeah.
This morning.
You know what? I had a long day yesterday, and it was a long day.
Someone has plucked Jill's last nerve.
Okay, so if anyone's wondering, what bag are they talking about, Dave? You might want to tell them.
Thank you.
They could be new to the area.
Yeah, they could be. Every year we have the Cub Scouts or the younger kids in scouting go out and drop bags off at everyone's
house but mine.
Everyone's house but hers because we
What, because I'm a liberal? Sorry.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, you just answered it right then.
What are they, political, these Cub Scouts? Come on.
A door is
What
a door.
are you training them to be?
Conservatives, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So they go and drop the bags off, and a week later, when they are all picked up because the bags are full, we ask you to leave the bags out on your door from 8 to 8:30 that next morning, and we'll come and pick them up.
Really?
From 8:30 to 12 o'clock. Now, some people get a little anxious, and they phone me up at 10:30 in the morning and say, nobody's picked up my bags. Will you please wait until 12? Because it does take them a little bit of time sometimes. But at 12 o'clock, if you do not have the bags picked up, please phone our office and somebody will come by and pick them up.
Right.
Because maybe you have been missed, like Jill.
I have been missed.
Which not very
For
many.
6 years, I've been missed. 6 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We hear this rant every year. Anyway.
We'll make sure you get bags. If you do not have a bag, there's an easy fix. Just take one of your grocery bags. I know you collect them. Get some grocery bag and fill it up with stuff and put it on your front doorstep, and they'll come by and pick it up. We don't care what kind of bag it is.
Yeah,
we just care that the bags are full.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. Well, we got a caller here.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and try it. Top Story. You're on the air with David Kirk. Good morning.
Hey, Jill, I got a bag, and I'm headed to your house. It'll be on your door when you get home.
Okay, I hope so. Thank you.
I know where you live, and I'm in charge of the Scouts, so I'm going to get one for you.
Every year.
Leave her a case.
Yeah.
2 bags every year. Thank you.
Give her 4 bags. She said she'd fill each one up.
I can't believe you guys even want me to say this every year. Well, I should be the first one to get a bag.
We could probably spin off of that.
Well, we'll get you back.
If you got your bag,
we'll
Jill's
get you
got
back.
her.
I'll get a bag. I will leave you cans. In the last few years, I have gone down, and you can go down, right? If you don't have to donate, anyone can do. Will you take money too?
We take money. We'll take money and
in the office, right?
Salvation Army,
Yeah.
It all goes to a good cause.
What does it go to?
Turkeys. They can buy frozen turkeys with that money. They can do a lot of other things. We don't get much of that, but if we do, that's what we will do.
Who's benefiting from all these cans of food?
We send it in Twin Falls. We send it to the Salvation Army, and they disperse that throughout the community, which is done very nicely that way. It's sort of a nice dropping point, and then it's dispersed. They categorize the boxes when they come in, from vegetables to meats to chilies to whatever might be there, and then they disperse that out according to the needies' meals at that time.
So in the past, you guys had a goal of 100,000 cans. Do you have a can goal this year?
We're still hitting for the 100,000.
How many did you do last year?
Well, we went over 100,000, but I don't remember the number.
Oh,
really?
Great.
We did. So
wow.
This is a big event, and that wasn't enough.
How many people do you think you're helping with this?
Boy, they say that's about 50,000 meals.
Oh my goodness!
No kidding.
And if you can do that much, that saes a lot.
Is it for the holiday or is it just
drive.
continual?
It's continual.
Continual.
And that's the problem. We don't give enough. I mean, we give a lot, but they need more. And so we've decided, from the Boy Scouts Executive Board has decided to go ahead and do a spring scouting for food as well. We've only done it in the fall. It's always been in the fall. Everybody does it in the fall.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it in the fall and in the spring too, because their cupboards are bare by then.
Yeah.
And we'll do that so it doesn't conflict with other food drives that are going on. Probably in the first part of April, about the middle of April, is when we're thinking of doing it. The mailmen have theirs, I think, in the end of May. So it should be really good timing.
So, Dave, are there certain kind of foods you guys are looking for that people request?
Yes. The kind of food we like, non-perishable, we really ask for, and non-frozen. Please, if it's frozen, it's going to be thawed out by the time we get it to the right place. And glass. You got to remember, these are Boy Scouts, and they're throwing that up onto the truck and going to the next house. If it's glass, it's not going to be containing the contents very well.
Yeah,
it'll be broken.
So, what do the kids? I said, what do the Scouts learn out of this deal?
We try and help them understand that they need to provide service, and it's also service to the community. It's also service for a good cause. They can't progress as a Boy Scout in rank if they don't do service in the community or service to others. And so this is an important part of their progress, and their character building is the importance of learning how to provide service to others.
Do they ever go to the Salvation Army when they're serving meals to see actually the ultimate, when you help people like that? These are the people you help?
The Salvation Army will accept them, but that's up to each individual unit. We actually have scouts there at the Salvation Army that are helping with that sorting process.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah.
And so they're already there. Even the young scouts, some young scouts are there. What they'll do is probably open up the bags and then, and try and disperse it into different areas. But it's done quite nice. And there's a few units. I know Unit 42 actually does what you just mentioned.
That they can serve and help and
they actually create the meals boxes for them and do it quite in a very good organized manner. So they learn a lot from this, but mainly it's service to others.
Yeah.
Well, nice.
How are the numbers doing? I heard here a while back that the numbers in scouting were kind of dropping a bit. Is that true?
On the nation, that is true. Here, we're growing. We have not dipped for many years. Here.
Why do you think there is a downturn?
They've had a downturn for the last quite a few years now, but scouting is having to venture into different avenues. They're changing. The interest is changing. 20 years ago, we didn't talk about computers.
Yeah.
We talked about those nice little beepers that you would get. Oh, those are cool.
Yeah.
But that's about as close as we got.
Have you had to change your badges, your merit badges, as technology and things have changed?
We have
like how to light a fire with your smartphone? That would be a good because I'm sure they could figure that out with an app.
They have included innovation, an innovation merit badge, something creativity. They've had a computer or data entry type of thing, a computer merit badges, something designed for that particular new changing generation. They're needing something like that. So a lot of neat things coming up.
This is kind of a selfish question, but do they have a ham radio merit badge?
Yes.
It's actually called Ham Radio Merit Badge, or is it something else?
It could be something else. It could be under. I know Ham Radio is involved, so I will answer that question. I'll let you know later.
Okay, and if they don't have one, can you get one? Just a regular old, just a Ham Radio Merit Badge.
We actually have.
Kelly, I always wanted to be in Scouts and couldn't be. Is this your attempt right now? How old do you have to be in Scouts? Come on, Kelly.
A graduate from the kindergarten.
Oh, I didn't go to kindergarten. I didn't go to kindergarten, so I guess I'm not eligible.
Now I understand more today.
Or 6 or 7 years old. Yeah. We'll take those two.
Seriously, though, I mean, I know there's a lot of kids around here involved in scouting. Probably a lot of more want to be, and the parents might be wondering, well, why should I enroll my kids in the Scouts? So tell them.
Well, I can answer that by simply stating the Scout law. A Scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Now, parents, is that what you want your boy to have in his life? We are building character of boys, character of youth. We're giving them the opportunity to lead. Even as a first grader, they're given the opportunity to lead in front of a group. We teach them communication. How do we communicate with others? And part of their growth, or part of their methods of scouting is, you've heard the merit badge, we mentioned that. What's the purpose of the merit badge? One, to get them interested in maybe a different career in life, which 30% of the people will pick their career through the merit badges they've earned.
Really? That's amazing.
30%.
That's a lot.
Their career is from that. But they also learn the importance of communication with the adult. That merit badge counselor, how do we do that? How do I communicate? And you have to communicate with that merit badge.
So how much does it cost for someone to become a Boy Scout if people are wondering, like, wow, that sounds great for my little pumpkin?
Well, if I was to compare that with soccer cleats, probably a half a cleat, half a shoe.
How much are soccer? I don't have kids.
Probably about $24. It's $24 a year.
Oh, okay.
$2 a month.
That's for the whole year. $2 a month.
Yeah.
$2 a month. But it will change their life forever. You hear this all the time. How many CEOs, presidents, whatever have been
astronauts?
They always go back.
Have been Boy Scouts.
Yeah, nearly all astronauts have been Boy Scouts, and a large percentage of them have been Eagle Scouts. That one, Apollo 13.
Right.
Eagle Scout that helped them through that.
Do you ever have anybody come back to you after years in scouting and they've gone on in life and they come back to you and say, wow, scouting was the best thing that I ever did?
Yeah, they do say that, and they say, how can I give back?
Yeah.
And we would prefer to have them give back as a volunteer.
Okay.
But they also give back monetarily, too. But that's volunteers is what keeps scouting going.
How do you get the volunteer? I know my sister was a Boy Scout, whatever. What were they, volunteers or something? I don't know. Yeah,
there's an application you fill out. You go through a criminal background check. And after all that, after you've been approved by your committee that wants you as a leader, you fill out that application, and you take youth protection training, and you're there.
Because they're den leaders, right? Den leaders? Are they mostly parents?
Used to be den mothers.
Den mothers, yeah. My sister was.
We don't have the den mothers anymore.
That's politically incorrect now, though.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what's politically incorrect. She won the Silver Beaver Award. I'm sorry, but.
That's a very good award.
Yeah, it was, but I'm like, okay, that's.
Well, before we go here, we got a caller for Dave Kirk. Top story, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. To answer your question about ham radio merit badge, merit badge called radio. And yes, you have the opportunity to study for your exam and that sort of thing.
Very cool.
Okay, great.
All right, but it's just called the radio merit badge, huh?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Well, let me petition then to call it the ham radio.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, we want to be specific here.
Dave's like, I can't believe I had to show up on this show. We've been so demanding. I want bags. You want your own merit badge. You're like, when does it end? Are we the biggest prima donnas ever?
But you know what? Each of you could be merit badge counselors. And teach radio.
I don't know if I could do that. Kelly's
We're about out of time, so real quickly, tell us about the food drive again. Time,
food drive.
Place.
This Saturday at your front door. Leave the bag full of all of your food there at the front door. They'll come by from 8:30 to 12. Have it ready. We're coming.
All right, and if you don't have a bag, you can leave it in a grocery bag or any kind of a bag.
And if they don't come up by 12 o'clock, phone the Scout office or on the phone book.
What's the number?
733-2067.
2067.
And you'll be talking to me.
Okay.
All right, the head guy, David Kirk, with us, Boy Scouts of America.
Thanks for my bag.
Thanks for the time. I appreciate you much.
Bye.
We've got Millie Scheme coming in next hour, and just as a disclaimer, yes, she is related to Jill because the whole world is, and we'll be talking about Ebola in Sierra Leone.
That's
so
right.
Stay tuned for that. Welcome back to Top Story, 7360300, always the number to call, and welcome back, Jill.
Thanks, Kelly. Same to you.
Just as a matter of reporting, it's 37 right now.
Oh, good.
So it's slowly warming up. Now, tomorrow we have Trick or Treat on Bishop Street.
That's right.
And the weather's supposed to be mighty fine for that.
Oh, mighty fine.
So mighty fine, yeah. And,
good.
Jill and I will be there dressed up in our costumes.
Yes.
And it's a unique costume.
We hope.
And we're not going to tell you what it is.
Don't play it up too much. You can't just...
Well, we want people to stop by, just if nothing else, to see how we...
Say hi.
Okay.
Say hi.
Come by, say hi, bring the kids, trick-or-treating, trick-or-treat on Bishop Street. Fred Meyer parking lot starts at 3:30.
Okay.
All right. We have now Millie Scheme, and Millie is from Sierra Leone. And Millie is, you might find this easy to believe, related to Jill because Jill is literally related to the world. She's lived everywhere. She knows everybody. She's related to everybody. So you might.
Millie is my niece-in-law because her husband Richard is my nephew, and he married lovely Millie. It's almost been a year now, right?
Yeah, it's almost a year.
And Millie's from Sierra Leone, and we love her. And you and I were having lunch last week, and we were talking about Ebola because your mother is in Sierra Leone still, and you went back in June because your father passed, which we're so sorry about, but. So anyway, you might want to just tell where you're from and how long you live there. How long have you been here?
Okay. I'm Millicent Scheme, and I'm from Sierra Leone. I've lived in the U.S. since February 2012. I was in D.C. and Austin, and then finally moved to Twin Falls to be with family. So.
And you came here because of Richard, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
yes.
Of course. We met in Sierra Leone because he was working there, so that's how we met. And it's like, oh, I can leave her. So.
And I know why, because you're so lovely. Yeah, so the Ebola fear that's created in the U.S., I mean, it's been in Sierra Leone for a long time. Do you want to tell us the history of Ebola?
Well, I heard the first time I heard about Ebola was in Guinea and Liberia. And it was not in Sierra Leone in February. Like in February, it started in Guinea and then it moved to Liberia. But then later in around the end of May towards June, when I was in Freetown, it started in Sierra Leone, but it was not in the capital city. It was in the villages by then. But when it started, the villagers didn't believe that Ebola was real, that it's something that's real or it's an illness. You just think it's like their gods are mad at them or something.
Oh, the gods are mad at them.
The really? Gods that they worship, because there was this lady that had Ebola, and when she passed, and then the people that went to wash a corpse and perform their rituals and ceremonies on the corpse, they all had Ebola and they all died. So somebody made up something, or what they think it was, that the woman was worshiping a snake, and for some reason all the people that went to wash the corpse saw the snake, and the snake got mad and killed everybody.
Okay, so it wasn't a disease, they thought.
No,
it was just a curse of some sort.
Yeah, they just thought it was a curse of something.
Okay.
But then when all the other families, they started having it, they started being sick, the families of the other people that died, when they started falling ill and everything, that's when they think that, oh, maybe this is some kind of sickness. So they were allowed to be quarantined and everything. But unfortunately, during the quarantine, they find out that everybody that goes into quarantine, they don't come back because they end up dying.
Mm-hmm.
So they think that, oh, maybe it's like politics. It's something political, because we have a two-party system. And in that area where the Ebola started, it's the opposition party, most of their supporters. and election is going to be coming up in like 2 or 3 years. So they're like, oh, maybe the government has something to do with this. They're trying to kill us so we don't get to take over again. So that's how we started. But during the time that the rumor was these rumors were in the provinces, in the city, it was something else. They were like, oh, Ebola is not real. Like the government is just trying to give like a ploy, like just form something so that they can get money from international committee. So they didn't take it serious either.
And they've had a history of the government being corrupt,
yes,
right? So this is why, didn't it happen with the HIV and other things?
Well, like HIV, they used to promote like HIV sensitization in Sierra Leone. So International Committee, WHO, and AIDS, the HIV organization, they used to like spend money in lots of African countries to sensitize them about AIDS, how to prevent HIV and safe sex, all those kind of things. So they finished last year. So they're like, oh, okay, maybe Ebola arrived, so they want to take an opportunity to make more money off Ebola, and Ebola is not real. So that was how it started.
So nobody was fighting it because everybody didn't think it was the real thing.
Yes, everybody have their theories.
So then it really gets a foothold, and then you really got a problem on your hands.
Yeah.
And Millie, you told me that and you said with the first woman who got it, part of the ritual that you do when someone dies is they clean the body, and that's how they're getting it.
That's how they're getting it. But then,
what do they do to the body? If you want to explain, do you know what that ritual is?
I don't know.
Is it more like a rural practice or a tribal practice?
Yes, it's more of a tribal practice, I think. I would think, because in my tribe, when someone dies, you call the morgue to get the body. We don't do anything. We don't touch. We don't do anything with body. But there are some people that have like they have their own rituals and secret societies. So they are bound to do stuff with their body when they die.
And now you said that currently there's a recent law that's preventing people from touching bodies.
Yeah, well, right now the cases in the rural areas have decreased like so much, and the hot zone is now in the city, Freetown, which is the capital city, where we never thought that the Ebola will even like like people won't even be infected by the Ebola, because I thought, because during my time I was there, I was like, just like talking, because everybody didn't believe me, and I went online and I researched. So I'm like, the government should just like put like military personnel in this Ebola zone and close the border between Guinea and Liberia, and just shut everything down, so that where the Ebola is, it would just stay there instead of coming to Freetown, because Freetown was designed for like 500,000 people originally, like during the colonial days, and now it has 3 times that population, or 4 times maybe. So it's overcrowded, and for people to like just be allowed in the city, it was really, really bad of the government. That was my problem, because they started when people were being quarantined, and then they were like, they had loved ones that were dying. So when they find that someone was sick, they allowed them to go to Freetown. So that's how it started in Freetown.
So they knew they were sick. They allowed them to go to.
Well, they were smuggled in, like maybe in vegetable, because that's where a lot of the agriculture is in the provinces. So they were smuggled in like vegetables and other stuff in Freetown, so that they can get proper health care. And they're like, oh no, it's not Ebola, it's something else. And so people started getting sick, like really, really bad. And then also, the more people were getting sick, when they call on the hotline number for the Ebola people to come get the sick people, they also use like, they have like, I think they had like 5 pickup trucks then, because most of the ambulances were used in the provinces. So they only had like 5 pickup trucks, and I don't think that they cleaned it properly, because there are a lot of like malarias, typhoid, and cholera that all have the starting symptoms like Ebola. So somebody will be sick and vomiting from malaria, but then they'll call the truck to be treated as oh, like we have to check, you have to take it to quarantine and check if it's not Ebola. And who knows, maybe most of the people, they pick up the disease from this mode of transportation.
Oh, from the trucks.
Yeah, from this mode of transportation. So we find out that like lots of people were getting the disease, and then the government passed a law that, well, if someone dies, whether it's Ebola or not, they have to test and give a certificate for you to take the corpse to the morgue. Because the thing that people don't realize is Ebola is not, it's only contagious when the person is about to die, when they start like bleeding out and throwing up, all those stuff.
When they're showing symptoms.
When diarrhea.
No. Well, the first symptoms they show is fever. If somebody have even like a temperature of 150 or something, they are not contagious. You just, of course, you have to like keep back and all, but they are not contagious. You understand? For them not to like throw up on you. If they throw up on you, then it's bad.
Right.
But when they start bleeding out, when they're about to die, that's when they become highly, highly contagious. And the corpse is worst. When they die, is when it's like a nuclear. They go nuclear. So if you touch the corpse, that's when the corpse. The corpse. That's why a lot of the health workers, you find out that most of the health workers, they're the ones contracting this, because they think that, okay, this person has died, so it's okay, I can like slacken my ritual a bit. You understand? And the carelessness was how lots of like the medical personnel got infected. But they passed this law that when someone dies, you have to hold the corpse for like a few days, so that they can check if the person is positive for Ebola. And I'm sure they don't have like lots of the contingency, like they don't have lots of laboratories for the test. So sometimes the test takes from about 2 to 3 days. And during that time, someone will mistakenly touch the corpse, and if the person did have Ebola, they will be infected too.
Wow.
Yeah. So now what they have done, what international committee have done is everybody that dies, whether it's old age, 90 year or 5 year or whatever, no matter how old you are, if you die from natural causes, the government have to bury you right away, like as if you die of Ebola. So lots of people don't have like funeral service anymore for their loved ones. So someone dies, they just package them with the quarantine and everything, and they just take the corpse.
And they don't cremate them there.
No, they don't cremate, but they have a mass grave where they bury all this.
Is this doing any good? Are they making headway on this in Sierra Leone?
This just started on Monday. This
see, she talks to her mom every day.
To my mom, so that just started on Monday, this new type of, because lots of people, of course, like the country is poor and everything, so lots of people, they are corrupt, they want bribes, especially like the health workers and everything, and someone who love to like bury their loved ones. So when they do the Ebola test, they just like give them something like, oh, take this thing, please, can you show that the test is negative of Ebola?
Oh, my.
So they're paying them off.
Yeah,
so I can have a funeral for my loved one. He's old, he just died of old age, we don't need to keep the corpse for 3 days. So that was the good thing that the government did, that they passed this law that everybody that dies now.
Hold tight, Millie. We have Millie Scheme with us, and she's from Sierra Leone, lives in Twin Falls. We'll be right back. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story. Welcome back. Yesterday's $100 instant winning name is Steve York.
Steve York, congratulations.
And your $100 word of the day for today is corn.
Corn.
Children of the corn.
Ooh, scary.
CORN. Go to our website, newsradio1310.com. Click on word of the day. Type in corn. Listen tomorrow. If you hear your name tomorrow and you play the word today, you win $100. And it's a word of the day brought to you by the Happy Landing Restaurant at the Twin Falls Airport.
Kelly loves that place,
I'm going there today for lunch with our Ham Radio Club.
Thursday.
Yes.
Okay.
And we chose the Happy Landing because they have good food and good prices. And it's kind of the area's best kept secret.
And if you go there and you tell them that, and you've never been there before, Millie, and you tell them that Kelly or Jill sent you, I assume me as well, or you heard
sure,
it on KLIX.
Why not? Go ahead. We'll go ahead and tell them.
And you order a drink, you get a free piece of pie.
And it's homemade pie.
Homemade pie, Millie. You know how you love pie.
It's not that store-bought stuff, that has more chemicals than ingredients. This is regular homemade pie.
Oh, nice.
So that's the Twin Falls Airport, the Happy Landing Restaurant. Tell them that Kelly and Jill sent you.
Right.
All right, so Millie Scheme is with us. And Millie, your family, your mother lives in Sierra Leone, and you talk to her every day.
Yeah, I do. I talk to her every day.
So you know things that we're not hearing on American media.
Yes, I do.
And so now you've been communicating with your mother, and the latest issue that we're facing here in America is the nurse who lives in Maine. Yeah. She flew into Newark, New Jersey, was immediately quarantined in a tent in the parking lot of a New Jersey hospital. Okay. And now she's in Maine, and she's saying she's not going to quarantine herself beyond today. And a lot of people are getting upset about this. She was a nurse who was actually treating Ebola patients.
Yeah, I saw on TV.
What do you think about that?
Well, the thing that people don't know in the U.S. is that it's only from Sierra Leone. I don't know about Liberia, but in Sierra Leone, it's only a fraction of people that have Ebola. And lots of other people, they take preventive measures, like my mom. So especially a qualified, an American trained nurse, I'm sure she would do her utmost best not to catch the disease. And since she's been here for like a week and she hasn't shown any symptoms, no fever or anything, I don't think she should be quarantined.
Plus her tests, she had 2 tests, were both negative.
Both negative. Yeah, she should not be quarantined, because what I know from what I've learned from the Ebola and the disease, people start showing signs of fever right away as soon as they start, before even the incubation period. The incubation period is usually 14 days, not 21 days. By 21 days, they're dead. Most of the people that contacted the disease.
So it's 2 weeks, 14 days.
By 2 weeks, they start bleeding out in 2 weeks. By 21 days, they're dead. Even the guy, Duncan in Texas. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What day? How many days did he have it that he then died?
He was dead by 16 days.
16 days.
So the nurse then in Maine, if she had it, we would know it by now.
Yes, she would have the temperature right away. It would just look like fever or malaria. She would not be throwing up, but she will have fever right away if she had it, especially being here for being in that quarantine camp for 3 days. If she didn't have a spike in temperature, then she's good.
So when do you start? How many days into it do you start vomiting?
Well, usually it's like between 10, 11 days, they start vomiting. And by the time it's 14 days, they start bleeding out. And that's it. Like all the people I've had, mostly, there was this guy that works for UNDP, United Nations Development Program in Sierra Leone. He was a driver and was working for the UN hospital, and somebody passed out and helped the person to the hospital. The person later died that same day, but they didn't test if she had Ebola or not. And 1 week later, he passed out, went to the hospital. That same day, he died. So imagine, his took 1 week.
Yeah.
So usually Ebola you don't need 21 days to know if somebody has Ebola. Right away. Even the doctor that came back,
Bradley.
that's all better. He got the Ebola, and the next day he started feeling symptoms. He started feeling just a little bit weak or tired. You understand? That's how he started. He started feeling weak or tired. And by the next day he had fever. He did the test, and the test took 4 days, and then it was positive for Ebola. So this lady, if she took the test twice and she doesn't have a spike in fever, then she's not a danger to the community.
So what do you think about this fear-based quarantine? I mean, we've heard stories where people were in Rwanda and people are insisting this child from Connecticut who went to Lagos, Nigeria. I mean, they have no symptoms, and they're forcing them to a 21-day quarantine. Does that make you nervous since you're from Sierra Leone?
Well, no.
Before you answer that, we're going to go to another break.
Okay.
We have Millie Scheme with us this morning from Sierra Leone.
Any questions, call in.
Yeah, questions or comments. 736-0300 is the number to call. We'll be right back. 736-0300 is the number to call. Here on Top Story, we have Millie Scheme with us, and we're talking about Ebola. And Millie is from Sierra Leone, and her mother lives there, and she talks to her every day. So getting some good information here that you're really not hearing anywhere else. Before we get back to Millie, I just wanted to mention that Dave Hansen and the crew at the Canyon Pond, Twin Falls' newest pawn shop, would like you to stop by and say hi. They got lots of cool stuff. They got fishing poles and tools and woodworking equipment and camping stuff and all kinds of guns with hunting season in the middle of things right now. Stop by, check it out. We were in there last week, and they got a great stock of a lot of stuff.
Very clean, nice place.
Yep, it's very clean, and it's a typical pawn shop. If you don't see what you want today, chances are it'll be there tomorrow. So they're at on Shoshone Street, right across from Will's Toyota, and stop in and tell them hi.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Millie,
we got a call at the break.
Yes, we had a call at the break, and there's so many questions I have. I don't know where to start, but the caller indicated that he has heard something that here in the United States, it's maybe mutating a little differently, might be a different strain of the Ebola, and that's maybe why we are able to handle it a little easier, or maybe there is concern that it is mutating. I don't know if I'm saying this right, but have you heard anything about that? Sit right up.
No, I don't think so, because if these people are from Africa, maybe they have their immune system is kind of like different towards the disease, or their body it handles the disease like differently. But I know that if they're from Africa and they're positive from Ebola, it's the same Ebola.
So my thought is we just might have either caught it faster, or we can handle it better, more fluids. I mean, maybe the medical facilities are better.
The medical facilities here, they're better, because in Sierra Leone, first of all, the management skill there is so poor.
What is it?
The management skill.
Oh, skill. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's so poor that they don't know they didn't have the first clue how to handle the disease. That's why when it started there at first, like by the time it's like 1,000 people like died like right away. But now with the help of like international committees and different aid workers like Doctors Without Borders, when they are there like teaching the nurses and how to operate their suits and everything, how to take off their gloves, how to take off their suits. It's kind of like it's getting a little bit better, but I don't think it's different. It's a different kind of strain or something, although there have been lots of conspiracy theories that like it's a weapon that they went to try in Sierra Leone that got out of hand and stuff, because the government failed to react in time. They thought that, it's fine, this is gonna be okay, because when it was in the provinces killing like 10 people a day, they were like, it's okay. But then it came to the city and keep killing 100 people a day. They're having like 80, 90, 100 cases a day.
Now they're worried.
Now they're worried because it got out of hand. But before, they're like, oh, no, it's okay. We can handle this.
So, Millie, can someone get it if someone sneezes? It's not airborne.
It's not airborne. I don't know if it will be, like, as they're saying that it will mutate. But for now, it's not airborne. It's still contacted through bodily fluids.
And Lysol is getting a lot of calls off the wall, to cleaning it. And when you went there in June, what did you use?
Well, I took my husband packed me Clorox wipe, although I had like hand sanitizer and antibacterial. But then the Ebola is not a bacteria; it's a virus. So antibacterial doesn't work. So the only thing that worked was chlorine. You have to put chlorine in water. Even they show it on TV. People wash their hand like anytime they do something, they have to wash their hand in chlorine water or Dettol. Dettol?
What is it?
Dettol.
How do you spell it?
DETOL. It's some kind of like antiseptic. It's very strong. I think it's a British and
Look
African
it up there, Jill.
thing.
See
It's a British thing.
DETOL
Okay.
is.
So you would wipe your hand when you went there.
They washed their hand. They had the soap and the wipes and the.
Okay. Well, we'll look it up.
So chlorine mixed in water will work.
Yes, like a lot of chlorine mixed in water.
So 50-50 or something like that, 50 parts chlorine to 50 parts water? Or?
Well, a lot more chlorine.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So, wow.
Yeah,
because
it has to be concentrated in chlorine because, of course, the water already have chlorine. You know, water when the water comes through the pipes and everything, it already has chlorine, but they have to put like extra chlorine in the water, a lot of chlorine in the water for you to handle the disease. But I use Clorox wipe because I think that nothing can stand against Clorox. So,
but they use that to wipe they spray that down on the suits, right? Is a Clorox bleach or a bleach with chlorine, right? When they're spraying
yes, they spray it on themselves. Like when they take off their suit, they spray it on their suits before they take off their suit, and especially when someone dies.
We'll be right back. Got another break here. 7360300 is the number to call here this morning on Top Story, and Millie Scheme is with us. Millie is from Sierra Leone, living in Twin Falls now. Your mother is still in Sierra Leone. We have one more segment left here, and during the break we were talking about some things. One of them that I do want to mention is if we were to put up restrictions of traveling into that area, that's going to discourage people from wanting to go there. Plus, on the quarantine deal, a lot of people aren't going to want to go there to help because we're coming into our Christmas and holiday season, and if people come back and they are going to be quarantined, then that's not going to be a good thing. So they're going to think, you know what, I'm not going to go to begin with.
And
does that concern you that people aren't going to come and help?
Yeah, it does, because I'm sure that's like U.S. the nurses and medical staffs, they have the proper training on, you understand, like doing stuff than Sierra Leoneans, and of course there will be a better help, like they have the proper training to be a better help for the Ebola situation, because I think they have like better medical equipment and facilities and training and everything. So I think, they can. And also like for like staffs, I was saying for like the staff of like the U.S. Embassy, like if everybody that's coming out of Sierra Leone is going to be quarantined, it's going to be like really bad, because there are a lot of people that work at the embassy that it's not even like, they are not even like close to where Ebola camps are, or where they have the Ebola treatment facilities. They're not even close. And I was saying that the camp where they have the American embassy, they can sustain themselves for like a whole year. They have everything in there. They don't even need to get out of the American embassy. So there is no way they can be exposed. If you understand, as long as the disease is not airborne, there is no way they can be exposed to Ebola. And if they are coming home to their families for the holidays, and I don't think it's fair for them to be quarantined.
Now, you said there's a lot of chat on Facebook about basically Sierra Leone should just handle the stuff themselves. It's their problem. How do you feel about that?
Well, there are lots of like people that post that, like it's every time something happens, America should run to the rescue of this country. They have to sort it out themselves and everything. I don't think that's the case, because what people don't realize is there are hundreds of Americans and European businesses in Sierra Leone, and these people, they make so much money in Sierra Leone, and they don't even spend it in Sierra Leone. Especially like the mining companies, they have like the mining companies, because Sierra Leone has lots and lots of mineral resources. We have the largest iron ore deposits in Africa, in the whole of Africa. We have gold, we have diamond. I know you have heard of blood diamond before, like during the war. Yeah. So
I'm too poor to have a diamond, but I know what you're saying.
Blood diamond,
yeah, blood diamond. Well, yeah, so they have all these resources, but then the country is still poor because these American and European owned businesses, they don't even have refinery. They only have they only hire Sierra Leoneans for the labor work. People do the labor work, and when they have this, when they mine all this mineral, they transport everything to their countries where they are being refined and sold for profit. And also they have expats coming from America and Europe and everything to do the job
rather than hiring the locals.
Yeah, they don't hire the locals.
You're a geologist.
Yes, I'm a geologist, and I couldn't get a job while I was there because they don't hire locals. They only hire someone that's uneducated and pay them like $300-$400 a month, and maybe that person has like five children to feed, a wife and everything, and they make like $10,000
a month.
They make $10,000 a month, and their salary goes straight into their bank accounts in America, and they only use like their per diem, like $1,000 per diem for like feeding and transportation in Sierra Leone. So therefore increasing the economy in America and profiting from our resources while we have nothing. So I think that people should help, like Americans, they should help because their economy is strong because of us, but they don't know that because all they see is like the money, the shopping. And apart from that, there are a lot of people that own like Sierra Leone that owns like boutiques and supermarkets that shop in the US. You understand? They bring their money and they shop in the US, and it's still increasing your economy. So there are ways that we're also helping. I know we are like just a pea, like a tiny pea in a big, or a little rock in a big pond and stuff, but we still cause a ripple.
So you feel like they basically exploit you guys, and then when you need help, they're like, do it on your own.
You can do it yourself,
But you guys need help.
Yeah, we do need help, and I think that please, people, you need to help, and the government needs to stop this mandatory quarantine, because as long as they don't have fever when they come in, of course you have to do the checks and sign. And if you want to do a 3 days or 1 week quarantine, that's understandable. And if they don't have any signs,
we're out of time, Millie.
Millie, thank you so much.
Very interesting. Yes, indeed. We'll be back after the Huckabee Report. Guess I better turn the mic on here.
That always helps.
You can hear the Huckabee Report each weekday at this time, brought to you exclusively by Waddell & Reed. And they have a number. They have a phone.
Isn't that amazing?
Waddell & Reed, yes.
No smoke signals. They actually have a phone. What number is it, Kelly?
It is 736-6563.
Wow.
Yes, indeed.
There you go.
Also, just want to mention, since we haven't been able to talk about them today, the folks at Stanley & Company and the Leone Honey Wagon. So if you have a big feedlot or dairy operation and you need to do something with that honey that kind of, pops up every once in a while.
Yep.
The Leone Honey Wagon will handle it for you.
Is it a loader? Isn't it a honey loader?
It's the Leone Honey Loader. You're right, Jill. I'm sorry.
I hadn't heard of wagon before.
I'm sorry. I don't know what got into me. It's the Leone Honey Loader. And it loads any type of manure from liquid to frozen and dry. And Pat Hartzell is the guy to get a hold of because he can fix it up so you can see one of these in operation. And if you want to buy one, he can handle that too. And his number is 280-1167.
That's great.
Repeat that back. 280-1167. That's his own personal cell phone number to get a hold of Pat Hartzell with Stanley & Company.
That's right.
Now...
you have another one?
Well, no, I was just going to talk about Trick or Treat on Bishop Street tomorrow.
Okay.
Were you going to talk about something?
No, I didn't know what you were talking about. Well, I can't read your mind yet. I know it's been almost 6 years, but...
Many people will say I never know what I'm talking about anyway.
Probably it's better I don't read your mind. I don't think I want to know what's going on up there.
Well, tomorrow's Trick or Treat on Bishop Street, and it's going to be in the Fred Meyer parking lot. And Bishop's RV is going to have their RVs all lined up there in a big circle. And we're going to be there doing trick-or-treating. Bring the kids. It's from 3:30 until 6. And bring the kids all dressed up in their Halloween costume. Mom and Dad, you can do the same if you want to. Some people bring their pet dogs and stuff, and everybody just has a good time.
I know.
3:30 till 6, and then it's over. So then you'll have it's a Friday.
Oh, yeah.
So you can take the kids to any other Halloween festivities that you might want to. But just between you and me, they're probably going to get enough stuff in their bags in order to just go home and call it a night.
I'm sure.
You know, so.
I'm sure.
So Trick or Treat on Bishop Street, that's tomorrow, starting at 3:30, going till 6, Fred Meyer parking lot. Be there. Aloha.
And we still have Millie here because she's just sitting here. But anyway, thank you again so much. So interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. Very interesting.
And,
get another perspective on this.
I know. So maybe we'll touch base with you as things develop. And as if you hear anything more interesting and accurate from your mom, and hopefully she's listening, and we'll say hi.
Hi, Mom.
And Richard. Hi, Richard.
Hi, Richard.
They can hear us there because we are streamed live online.
Yeah, so. I know. I sent her the link and everything.
Oh, very cool. All right. Well,
see, we're international now,
that's
Cal.
That's right. We are international.
Thanks, Millie.
Thanks for joining us. And tomorrow we'll have Steve Hardigan and who else?
Andrew Weeks, who is the haunted stories from Twin and Magic Valley.
All right. So we'll see you then. Have a great day. Goodbye, Jill.
Bye, Cal. Bye, Millie.